What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Free Speed Podcast, your go-to podcast for navigating fitness and life with purpose. We're your hosts, Cal.
And I'm Tash.
And today is episode 31 of the Free Speed Podcast. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what's happening this weekend, which is our marathon, our first ever marathon, which is crazy to say. And we're going to be talking about what shoes we're wearing because we just got a brand new pair of shoes, and a little bit about running shoes in general and how to pick the right shoes, what shoes you should be thinking about in your training. And then we're also going to get into our race plan, our fueling plan, carb loading, our mentality, our goals, and really just kind of the prep leading into this big marathon weekend. Tash and I both signed up for this race back in January when we were planning our 2025 vision boards. And I don't know about you, Tash, but this was my A race all along. Like, this has been the biggest, like, the cumulative of, I guess, my training season. And so I think it's definitely the highest stakes, the most pressure, and the most nervous, but I'm excited to race this weekend. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm excited to get it over with. I feel like
You've been training this forever.
the last 16 weeks were just dragging, and it just felt like the longest time ever. And obviously I enjoy running, that's why I run, but to be completely honest with you, the marathon distance, I don't know yet if I don't like it, but just from the amount of training that you have to do and like sacrifice strength training for it, it's hard. Like, you can't compete in CrossFit and like strength and powerlifting stuff to the extent that like you used to if then you're taking on a marathon and stuff. So honestly, that was just really hard, taking like a back seat
in just your priorities.
Yeah. And like, obviously I just had to remind myself this is just a season in life. Like, this is just how it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
It will change in the future. And I was happy to experience it. And this last 16 weeks, I've learned a lot about myself. And yeah, I'm super excited to put myself to the test. But I will say I am very looking forward to just going back to my CrossFit WODs and strength sessions and sprinkling a few runs in during the week because, yeah, it was a quite intense training block, I will say.
One of the things that's interesting about the hybrid space, I find, is you don't necessarily need to go all in on a goal. Some people love to sign up. Say you love to strength train, you love to do CrossFit, you love to run. And when you sign up for that marathon, you drop everything and you enter and you become a runner for whatever marathon 16-week plan or whatever it might be for that time frame. And you go all in and you try and maximize your potential and set some sort of aggressive goal and really work towards that. There's another avenue I think that I used to enjoy more, which is just seeking out challenges and hard things. And instead of necessarily putting like weeks and weeks and weeks together to prepare for something, I would just sign up for something that I thought would be fun, a fun challenge. And I think nowadays we've gotten so far to a point where people like set these goals and give themselves like 6 months to train for it. And at the end of the day, like, I think training is definitely going to help you race better, or if you set an aggressive goal, achieve that goal. But if that takes away the fun, if that takes away the enjoyment or the passion in training, you've kind of lost it. And so I do know there's a lot of people who look down on people who live this like challenge type of way of signing up for races and just randomly running 100Ks like our good friend Logan. Some people would be like, oh, that's stupid. However, I think there's something that's completely separate about that, which is just finding a new challenge, seeing what it comes from it, and then maybe you find out, okay, now I want to dedicate 20 hours of training a week or 15 hours of training a week. Do you know what I mean by that? Is
Yeah.
like I could have run a marathon 6 months ago with just my background, but I wanted to really like prep for this aggressive goal, and that was the decision I make. I don't think there's anything less though of just, oh, I'll go for a more conservative time. And I think it's just an interesting analysis of how people have started really dedicating more time nowadays to training to really maximize their potential. And I think that's a cool thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want it to discourage people or make people so injured or beat down or broken that it's just like you do it once, you never do it again. Might as well just kind of find some more balance and do what you do, which is CrossFit, do some strength training, enjoy the WODs, the
Yeah.
whatever it may be.
Well, let's take a step back and kind of like go through the whole training block. So I started training, I guess, yeah, like 16 weeks ago, whatever day that was. I can't do the math in my head. But at the beginning, I was like, okay, obviously I've never run a marathon before, but this is how a lot of people train. They start building up their weekly mileage and it will gradually increase. Obviously, there'll be deload weeks within that whole training block, but a lot of people will just like rack up like time on their feet and increase their mileage. So there was a point where I was running like 40Ks a week, and that was like quite a lot for me at the time. And honestly, I was feeling more injured then than I was with doing one long run, one interval session, and one easy run. So I kind of learned along the way that the way my body reacts to running, like just running 10K every day is just not good on my body. And I also just don't enjoy running that much every day. Like that was quite a bit actually, like 5 to 10K every day,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe taking a couple days off. But yeah, I definitely learned that I'd rather do one long run during the week and then like a speed session and an easy run or 2 easy runs, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably completely different
Well,
than me.
when I have a protocol that I've said on this podcast before, but I think everyone who's new to running needs to remember, like even like I'm a half decent runner, but I've only been running a year, and you can always
Seriously.
yeah, seriously.
But
And
you've been
I
running like all
think
your life though.
yeah, I guess I've been running my whole life, and I've been playing sports my whole life, but I truly believe that like it takes years. It takes years, and you can try and rush a process that will usually make you much more likely to be injured and make you hit plateaus and make you stuck with where you're at right now. And so I want people to think, if you're listening, do you want to break yourself down to get a short-term goal, or do you want to set yourself up for in 2, 3, 4 years that you're continuously improving? And I think that's a real question that you should ask yourself. And if you think like you have to keep up with people who are training loads and tons of high volume stuff, one of the things that I'm looking to do after the post marathon, and just knowing around 70 to 80 Ks, the last couple times I've hit 70 to 80 Ks, my body's told me like to slow down. I've started to feel sort of niggles and these like minor little injuries. I've never had anything serious, touch wood, but it's important for me to know anything around that ballpark is where my body has given me feedback. And so I'm only a year in, and I know there's plenty of time to get up to those levels. That's going to take not just running, it's going to take foundational stuff like strengthening my calves, stronger hips, everything that's going to be used in running. And then also taking more time to do the recovery things, and then just continuously building up, because every time you get injured, it's also a bit of a setback. And And so that's kind of the way I think I've seen this long-term play, especially like I was saying, after this race this weekend, I'm gonna make the biking volume of my training much bigger than it has been in the past. And what I mean by that is I think there's a huge opportunity for hitting whatever your sweet spot running volume is and then adding extra conditioning and tons of extra zone 2 work, whether it's biking or rowing or skiing or whatever, hiking, whatever. If you love to be outside, you can find ways to add volume and not point a finger at, oh, it's because like I just can't get to that running volume. I don't have the ability to sustain that. You can probably sustain lower impact stuff. And
Yeah, definitely.
I think
You can't compare yourself to other people
no.
who have been
But
running for literally years and years and years and are running like 80 to 100 Ks a week. It's just like, is that really worth it for you?
and this is what I want to give people and even myself, like the grace to, like, there is a way that you can still train at the same level as them and it's low impact.
Yeah.
That's the way you train at the same level as people that you're seeing on Instagram or the pros, is you do as much as you can sustainably and you add that low impact side to match their training hours or their training volume, and you still have to like recover and see what fits in your schedule. Likely that's their full-time job, and not many people have the luxury of that. But yeah, so let's talk about shoes.
For the marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about shoes. The shoes that we ended up getting.
So, you know what's interesting is that I think this was like maybe a year ago when we were in San Jose, when we went to this Adidas outlet and I tried on this pair of Adidas carbon plate shoes and I almost bought them, but then I didn't. And it's just funny because like...
Is that the hour south of San Jose? At the Gilroy outlets?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm pretty sure I tried on the Adios Pro 3, like the older version, or maybe it was even the second version. I'm not sure. But yeah, I decided not to because it was the start of my running journey. I didn't really need another pair of carbon shoes. I already had one, and whatever. But fast forward to now, Cal and I both decided to go with the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro 4s, which is a carbon plated running shoe, for our race day.
And what's cool about
yeah.
the Adidas ones is it's unlike a lot of the carbon shoes. If you already know this, then you're gonna be like, yeah, whatever. But they're energy rods instead of a carbon plate. And I just want to say this: if you haven't tried the shoe yet, what's cool about the Adidas shoe is Tash and I just bought the shoe 2 days ago, and I would say some shoes you really want to like get a feel for or break them in. And these new carbon plated shoes are pretty stiff and rigid and pretty aggressive, and you start to feel it on your, like, it wears the calf and the Achilles a little bit. It definitely gives you extra energy return, but it definitely can strain you a bit more. And I would say these energy rods that the Adidas shoe has, the Adios Pro 4s, is much more natural feeling when you're running on the foot, and they feel fast, and they feel like these shoes were made for people who are more heel strikers. And I think even if you're not a heel striker, there's a point where you start to fatigue and your technique breaks down while you're running long distances, where this shoe is a really cool shoe in that it really snaps you. It kind of feels like it pushes you and snaps you forward. And if you start to lose your technique or get lazy, it's not one of those shoes that it feels like you're pounding or like running uphill in, which is kind of how I felt with my New Balance shoes, which is kind of the best way to segue, is like what your old shoes were and like how you feel.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting. So for my first half marathon that I did last year, I just started running last January of 2024. So I did a whole half marathon training block, and then in around end of April, like right before my half marathon, I bought a pair of New Balance SC Trainer V2s. So like they're super old version. You can't find them anywhere anymore. They're discontinued. but they were my favorite shoe. Like, when I tell you, they felt so similar to the Adidas Adios Pro 4s. Like, I was so happy when I tried them on and they were like, oh, okay, these actually feel really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously I put a lot of kilometers on those ones. And then when I did High Rocks Brisbane, I was looking for another pair of shoes. So then I bought the new version of the SC Trainer, and it was just terrible. The V3 compared to the V2, it just is so much heavier and just not
Wait, is that
not
so?
great.
The V3 trainer is the one that you just got, and it's the V4 SC Elite. Or are you sure it's not the V4?
I don't have a SC Elite.
No, I have the SC Elite V4.
Yeah, I have the SC Trainer.
And it's the V3 though, or the V4. I think it's the V4. Anyway,
Okay, you're confusing everyone.
I think
SC Trainer. No, it's V3.
oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So they only have 3 trainers. The SC Elite is on its 4th model, but
I guess so.
yeah. That's why I was just a little confused.
But
Okay.
anyways, so yeah, I've been wearing my SC Trainer V3 for my whole marathon training block. They were an okay shoe. Like, they were okay for logging miles, but they do have a slight carbon plate in them, but they're also meant for everyday like long runs too, which is why it's kind of confusing.
Well, I would say you can tell the New Balance shoes, even the SC Elite, all their shoes have like a pretty good sole.
Yeah.
The sole of the shoe has a very strong like rubber that is great for high rocks type of running and traction. Whereas the new running race shoes, the new Adidas shoe, a lot of the shoes, the Nike shoe, or the Puma shoe specifically. I know the Puma and the Adidas shoe, which are 2 of the leading race marathon shoes right now, they have some of the least amount of grip I've ever felt on the bottom of a shoe, and they definitely feel very unstable, but they run fast in one direction, and that's what you need.
Well, it's so funny because yesterday we were trying to take some photos with our friend Logan. He got a new Cinema Line Sony camera, and he was just trying to take like a few photos to test it out. And I was like doing like a quad stretch where you like balance on one foot. In the Adios Pro 4, I'm like falling over. Like, you literally can't stand on one foot in the shoe. It's actually crazy how like unbalanced it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think it'll be good for running the marathon, but I don't think it'll be good for high rocks or anything like that.
No. And it'll be interesting to see the bottom of the shoe after like a 42K run.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see.
Yeah.
I think with the race shoes, it's important to know like these carbon plates and things, they need to stay fresh. And so you really want to keep them as fresh as possible. And that's why you want to do most of your running on your easy day shoes, which I just recently got the Nova Blast 5s. Or the A6. What did I call it?
Yeah, it's Nova Blast 5, but it's A6, yeah.
The A6 Nova Blast 5. And I love the shoe. God, do I love the shoe. But this has happened now twice. I had the New Balance Rebels, and then I got the Asics, and I like the Asics better. But what I found is once you hit over 500, I would say maybe closer to 600 kilometers in your easy shoes, you notice a big difference. And it's tough because the ideal is to be able to have multiple pairs of shoes that you can just rotate through. And if you're running close to 80 Ks a week, I mean, we're talking like close to 10 weeks.
They will, yeah.
Close to
your
10
shoes
weeks
will
that you're
basically only last for your training block.
Almost 3 months.
Yeah.
And that's wild to me because I know there's tons of people, including me, where like the shoe could last it could last a full year. I say most shoes, if you're running pretty consistently and you don't just destroy them, you could run a year in a shoe, and it might be pretty trash by the end of the year. But to think if you're running like 50, 60, 70 plus Ks, even over 50 Ks a week, that your shoe's only going to last like 3 months, it's like, God. And that's why I think it's it's a little frustrating, but I think it's important to know, like, once your easy shoes are over 500 kilometers, there's likely a bit of the foam that's been compressed, and you're likely a little bit more at risk of injury.
Do you use the feature on Strava that you log the shoe?
You should. I don't.
You don't?
I don't.
We need to start doing that.
Yeah.
Because I did, but for some reason it was stuck on like this old pair of shoes that I wore once. I logged a run once in them, and now that's like the default, and I don't know how to change it.
Mm-hmm.
So every run that I run, it says I'm running in the Brooks like glycerin or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, damn, that's not.
If
the
you're
shoe that I'm
listening, you're
wearing.
not sure what she's talking about. Both Garmin and Strava, you can add the shoe and then track how much mileage you've been running into them.
Which is super smart, because then you can just see how long they've been lasting. So I think definitely I'll be doing that for my next race for sure.
The last thing I want to say about shoes is just be careful with seeing what athletes are wearing the shoes, because if they're getting paid to wear a shoe, it's not necessarily the right shoe for you.
Mm-hmm.
If an athlete is getting paid to wear the shoe, it's not necessarily the right shoe for you. And so
that rhymes.
try the shoe on and feel, are you a heel striker? Are you a forefoot striker? That's a huge difference. Do you have a wide foot? Do you have a narrow foot? Does one shoe being much lighter than another shoe make a big impact on you because your hip flexors are weak? Then consider that, right? So, and that's what I've noticed is just going into these Adidas shoes, because we've been training in these New Balance shoes, which were a little heavier on the heavier side. Like, we just shed close to 50, 60 grams each.
Yeah.
And when you're running 42 Ks for hours, I mean, those grams and the strain on your hip flexors and all your joints and muscles, it makes a big difference. And so just remember that when you're looking for a new shoe, that it just try them on, go to the stores. And that's what Tash and I did. We went from Adidas, we went all the way over to Asics, tried on the Asics. I was just like, no, these aren't even close to how that felt. Went back and got them. So
yeah, and if your favorite influencer is recommending a shoe, they're likely probably getting commission for sales through their link for the shoe, and like obviously that's probably not going to be the right shoe for you. Everyone's anatomy is different. You need to go try the shoe on, see how it feels, because trust me, like the worst thing is just buying a shoe that does not feel right on your foot. Like that's literally the worst thing.
All right, let's get into fueling, and our fueling plan for the marathon. I think that's
so if you're listening to this, it's 3 days out from the marathon.
It's Thursday. Race is Sunday morning at 6 a.m., which is wild because Tash and I don't get up at 6 a.m. unless we have to.
Well, that's not true, because Cal coaches and wakes up at 3:30 a.m.
Only 2 days a week, thank gosh.
Yeah, but it's not like you don't know how to wake up at 6. For me, waking up at 6 is like terrible. Racing
at 6.
I
think that's the hardest part. Is I'm not too worried about waking up at 4 a.m. Like,
I'm worried.
When you wake up at 4, it's a slap in the face, or just like, oh. But it's like, how often do you mentally get really, really ready to race at 6 a.m.? I mean, some people love doing their hard workouts then, but that's just not normally what we.
People who run in the morning, like right after they wake up, like I feel like they just have a significant advantage in racing. And I wish they did marathons like midday sometimes.
Really?
Like a midday marathon, like I would do that any day.
I would rather a nighttime.
Oh yeah, or a nighttime marathon.
Yeah.
Have you seen the
Run in the Dark? Yeah.
Bandit Grand Prix thing?
I did see something like that.
That was so cool. It was like a nighttime, like F1 inspired, like running race.
Yes.
It was so sick. Like, I want to be able to travel around the world and do something like that. Like, that would be so sick.
Or even just like
film it. I am not a morning person whatsoever. And on top of that, I'm getting my period in the next few days. And I'm noticing that my caffeine intolerance is significantly getting worse, to the point where like it is affecting me like more and more as like the days come closer to my menstrual cycle.
Intolerance.
Yeah.
Explain this. I've never heard of this. Like the caffeine is not affecting you as much as it needs to.
No, it's affecting me too much.
Oh.
Like to the point where I'm like,
yeah, you need to ease back the caffeine.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
it's negatively affecting me.
Yeah.
Anxiety, jitters, can't focus.
Yeah.
It's so weird. So I just need to figure that out because I know I'm going to need some caffeine before a race, but like, I guess we'll find out on race day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's in the sunny coast. It's like a 2.5 hour drive, right?
Yeah, 2.5 hours.
And we're staying in a house, an Airbnb with a few friends, which is so exciting. It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah, there's six of us who are all there's 5 of us racing, 2 doing the 10K, 3 of us doing the marathon, and then we got our guy Logan who did the 100K who's gonna video stuff for us, and yeah, it's gonna be fingers crossed, good weather, and a lot of people would assume, oh, like you just go out for dinner as like a group or
like the night before.
Yeah, or like you guys are going to cook together. And I already told the guys we're going with, like,
you're going to be so locked in.
No. Buy your own groceries.
Yeah.
Bring your own dinner.
Yeah.
Because not only do I want for myself, but I want them to be eating exactly what they want to fuel. Like that's what I believe in. And like you could say, oh, it's taking it too seriously, but that's just one of the 1% that I really do think is just like, man, if you're gonna train for it, if you're gonna sign up for something, like just take it a little seriously.
Yeah.
And so with that, we're gonna be eating rice and ground beef. I'm gonna be eating rice and ground beef and crumpets and just keep in the carbs. And I think since I've started this prep, I started taking up to 17 pills in total, which is wild.
Like supplements.
Yeah, 17, not different supplements, 17 total. By the end, I've been taking 6 of them are beta-alanine pills, which I have noticed a big impact in just how I've felt when I take it 2 hours before my training, 2 to 3 hours.
Like, how does that
in
help
terms
you?
of so beta-alanine has been tested to help with lactate buffering, and it is intracellular lactate buffering, and beta-alanine can be loaded, and it should be loaded leading up to the race. And then there's been studies also with bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate, so baking soda, where you take bicarb. You want to train it and practice it before the race, but if you take it, you don't have to, because that is an extracellular, so that's in your blood, and that also helps as lactate buffering. With that one, if you're not careful, you might be in the bathroom about kilometer 10. So, kilometer 10. Anyway, with those 2 supplements, though, you can get big benefits with just endurance activity, and the best way to describe it is it doesn't feel as challenging because it's buffering the lactate, which is what makes your muscles feel sore or heavy when you're doing something endurance or strength based.
Yeah.
So getting into the fueling plan is just increased carbs leading into the race, and eating exactly what you want in the morning.
Definitely don't try new foods.
No.
Don't try new foods. Don't try
spicy foods.
Don't try spicy foods.
Don't even have spicy foods. Don't throw that Cholula on the burrito bowl the night before.
Yeah,
I'm looking at you,
Tash.
Tash.
Don't have ice cream the night before. Don't have anything that could possibly upset your stomach. Don't try new gel. What you want to do is increase your carbohydrate intake. I think it's like 36 to 48 hours before your race. And that's just to maximize your body's glycogen stores. So it's just funny because the other day, Calvin and I were talking about carb loading, and we're like, carb loading? What the fuck is that? We carb load every day. Because like a lot of our diet is literally just carbs. Obviously, we have lunch and dinner and like breakfast with a protein source and then carbs and fats around that. But we eat a lot of carbs. So it's just funny because we're like,
it doesn't change a lot for us.
Yeah, how would I possibly eat more carbs?
I would say
for
Tash and I, realistically, it's more focus on just still consuming. With us, it's easy to skip a meal like lunch or something, and you just can't do that in the few days leading out. And you got to be on top of your hydration the 3 days leading out with just good sodium, good water, and just a good mixture of that.
Like for example, yesterday I wasn't feeling too well and I felt like I just needed more like vitamins and minerals in my system, so I made a salad for lunch, which is like a healthy meal, but you don't want to be eating a salad like like a day out from the marathon. Like that's no carbs. Like don't be doing that stuff.
Yeah, don't go healthy on us.
Yeah.
But also on the other hand, I've had teammates do this before and I just never understood it. And I really am I'm really against this, but people have somehow decided that carb loading means like reverse all the trauma of like an eating disorder on one day and like go get your like triple decker pizza. Go and that isn't at all what I believe carb loading is, because I think the quality of the carbs matters. And so when you're running on pizza versus you're running on rice, I notice a huge difference. I mean, you can try it, you can fuck around and find out. But in terms of just knowing how something feels you and makes you feel, I'm really against using like a dirty carb diet as a what's the word, carb loading source. But
and also if you're eating like greasy food, fatty food, like pizza, cheese is super fatty,
you'll feel heavy.
Yeah, you'll feel heavy, and also it can probably negatively impact your performance just because it doesn't digest as fast, and it's definitely just not going to be good for your system. So
all right, so let's get into our marathon fueling plan. And for my marathon, I'm going to be waking up roughly 2.5 hours before the race. And I'm going to plan my dinner the night before to make sure that when I'm waking up, I'm still going to feel a little bit hungry. I'm not going to not eat in the night before, but I'm going to eat early enough so that I still am able to eat. And I'm going to eat at least 2 crumpets, obviously depending on nerves and how I'm feeling. At least 2 crumpets
what are you going to put on the crumpets?
Jam or Biscoff. I don't think I'm doing Biscoff. Biscoff seems like a risk that I'm not.
It seems like a risk, but it's so good.
It is so good, and it's easy to eat. And so that's the trade-off.
Biscoff.
And I'm going to eat rice. So it'll be white rice, 2 crumpets with either jam or Biscoff, to be determined, and some cranberry juice that's diluted with water. And I'm going to put I'm going to sprinkle some salt. I'm going to sprinkle some sodium on some portion of this meal, not sure where, and drink water.
Pink Himalayan salt.
And
it's very important, not just table salt.
Yeah. Pink Himalayan salt. And so that will be like the basis of my breakfast. I probably will put the pink Himalayan salt on the rice just to get it down that way, and then just keep the hydration consistent, and that will be the fuel that goes into the start line. And I'm going to be having one of those flask. What do you call it? Hydro flask?
No, just like a flask.
A flask. So if you imagine
like a mushy one.
A mushy flask that you could put in a vest, in a running vest, one of those flasks. It's about 500 mils. I'm going to have one of those with a diluted cranberry and water, a little bit of carbs and water, because I use that as a substitute for having to take water from the early stations, and I enjoy like sipping on it in a more natural way while I'm just like running throughout those early kilometers. And then I'm also going to have 5 gels in each pocket. So I'll have 10 gels and this soft flask, and I'll ditch the soft flask or throw it away around 15 kilometers. That's the plan. And
We'll see.
ultimately, I'll tell you how it goes. Next
Yeah.
episode, we'll find out.
My plan is I'll probably wake up the same time everyone wakes up in the house. I'll try to stomach down a breakfast if I can. If you know me, I cannot eat in the morning. I feel so sick every morning. So it's just really a challenge to eat like right when you wake up for me. So I think I'm just going to really have to focus on not eating for like a few hours before bed the night before. And then we're going to be taking some of the Rise fueling system that Benny Seymour created. Rise, if you guys don't know what it is, it's like a performance and media based supplement company that's new to Australia. So they have a few products. They have Rise Hydration, Performance Fuel, Endurance, and Creatine. So what I'm going to do is the day before and the morning of the race, I'm going to take Rise Hydration, which is 1,050 milligrams of sodium, 180 milligrams of potassium, 70 milligrams of magnesium, and a little bit of calcium. So this is just an electrolyte formula, and clean, balanced. It's not too like strong of a flavor, so I'm going to be taking that definitely before the race. And then on the way to the start line, I'm going to be taking some performance fuel mixed with some endurance, which is performance fuel is a carb and caffeine and nootropic mix, and endurance is just a carb mix. So I'm going to mix both of them in a flask and drink that on the way to the start line, just because I think 200 milligrams of caffeine on top of a coffee, I don't think that's going to, I'm going to go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to dilute it a little bit.
I think that'll be good.
Yeah.
As long as you get that in, I would say 15 to 20 minutes before you start jumping up and down. When you think about running, your stomach's just bouncing.
Yeah.
Like if you can get those sort of carb sources in and just like settled a little sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be great.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a kind of our fueling plan.
And then your gel plan.
Oh, and then my gels. So we're going to take some BPN Go gels. I'm thinking I'm going to take one every 30 minutes. And I found a significant difference on my last long run. I was taking them every 40 minutes beforehand, thinking, because that's like usually like a rough time that people say to take gels. And then on my very last long run before I started tapering, I took it every 30 minutes and I found like a significant difference with my energy levels. So I'm going to try to take a BPN Go gel every 30 minutes. So if I have a goal time of 4 hours, that means I need to take 8 gels.
And you have
Right?
8,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You
I
have
have
8,
8.
yeah.
Yeah. But they're all uncaffeinated, so I might try that Science of Sport 200 milligram caffeine gel like at like 30K and see what happens.
I've been debating whether
that's not smart. I'm not going to take it.
I've been debating. This is tough because this is a real dilemma I have for anyone listening. It's funny how like important this stuff is. I bought the gel that Tash is talking about. That's a nootropic Science and Sport lemon lime gel that has 200 milligrams of caffeine. You look at this gel and it looks like it to turn you into Iron Man. I don't like any sort of like caffeine, any sort of new sort of thing, but I'm thinking maybe I tuck it in my back pocket and then have it as like a last ditch effort. However, I think if you're in a position, like realistically, I'm like, if there's a point where at like for some reason I'm at 30K and I'm like in a hole where I'm like, I'm fucked. Yeah. Like it's too late. Like there's no way this gel is going to turn me into a superhuman. Or if I am in that like place where I'm like, damn, like I need something. If I took that, I think it would just like my system would just be like, what the hell did you just put in it? Because it'd be so intense.
Well, yeah, the guy at the bike store where I bought it, he was like, make sure you try it beforehand because it's intense. And I was like, ooh, okay. So honestly, I don't think I'm gonna take that one because I haven't had a chance to try it and I'm not gonna try it in the next few days. So instead, I'm gonna get a couple of pure fluid gels that have a little bit of caffeine. because those ones are super easy to get down. If you haven't tried a pure fluid gel, you're missing out, because it's literally like drinking water. It just slides down your throat and you can just take it all in one go. BPN Go gels I do enjoy because it's like eating like an applesauce or something, and it's just like quite enjoyable to eat, if you know what I mean. But sometimes you just want like that more wet feeling.
I agree. It's easier the fluid gels are really good.
So I'm going to mix a few of those together. But yeah, that is our fueling plan for the marathon. And the next time you hear from us,
you'll know if it worked.
Yeah,
you'll literally know if it worked.
And we're going to do a marathon debrief episode as well. So you guys should definitely keep your eye peeled for that. But by the time you're listening to this episode, we've probably already run the marathon. So keep an eye out on our socials to see how we did and how everything went. But yeah, we're super excited to, put our body to the test. And, the whole training block, that was the whole like hard work, right? So this is just a celebration at the end. So
you have to enjoy these moments. I think it's so easy to get caught up in it, and it's more a message to myself, is like literally just enjoy it. You can get way too hyper fixated on just the little things, the minute things, when it's just like, just enjoy testing your fitness at that point, and you go from there. Exactly. I think so. What's crazy is 2 days ago was the year of our half marathon, and a friend of mine just ran.
Sorry, that made no sense. Can you restart
2 days
that?
ago.
2 days ago. A year ago.
A year ago. A year ago.
A year ago today. 2
days ago. No. So 2 days ago.
Okay, this is how you should say it. 2 days ago, I got a notification on my phone that a year ago today. Was our half marathon.
All right. 2 days ago, I got a notification on my phone that a year ago today, Tash and I had ran the San Francisco half marathon, which is crazy because that was my first race. And I had a friend that was running the half marathon 2 days ago, because the half marathon was 2 days ago in San Francisco. And he sent me a message, and he said he was worried because training hadn't been going the way he wanted it to. And what I told him was, all you got to do is just stick with the pacer and hang and bang. Hang and bang. That is all you need to do in these races. Is when you think about like looking at your watch, checking your pace, whatever.
Don't
find the pacer and hang and bang.
That is their whole job. Like, if you guys don't know what a pacer is, if you've never run a race before, there are these groups where one or even a few dedicated people will be holding like a sign up that says like, this is your end time. Yeah. And they'll be running at that exact pace, and it'll just be a group of people that also want that end time. And you just run with them. Yeah. And it's honestly great, because then it just keeps pushing you to keep going.
And you just stick with the group. Yeah. And you focus on the breathing, relaxing, staying more relaxed and calm, and not, oh my God, am I at a 4:30 pace, or am I at a 4:35 pace? Like, when you're running alone, it's much more stress looking at your watch up and down, making sure you're on pace. Just stick with them. Yep. Say it one more time.
Hang and bang.
All right. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Free Speed Podcast, episode 31. We really appreciated you guys listening. Next week, we will go into a full debrief of how the race went and what we talked about today and how it worked. And then after that, we will have a really special guest episode that will come out. So stay tuned for those 2 episodes that will be coming out in the next couple weeks. Otherwise, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time, and wish us luck.